welcome to our presentation on the effects of gratitude practices and acts of kindness on overall well-being in college students. I'm Crichton.
I'm Lucy Casto-Waters.
I'm Gillum.
I'm Sara McCorkle.
I'm Lydia McLeod.
And I'm Ellie, Beth, Youngblood.
College is a pivotal stage in growth and development, going from adolescent to adulthood in individuals. This period is defined by challenges such as academic pressures, social non-support, and identity development. Sorry, catch my breath here. In recent years, there's been a surge of mental health struggles among the college-age population. COVID-19 has been a primary cause of this, raising anxiety and stress among the majority of college-age population, with less than 5% of the population using mental health resources to help combat those struggles. This recent surge has caused for concern, needing for new strategies and techniques to be developed to combat these growing surges of mental health issues. Gratitude. One of the primary contributors to this is anxiety. High anxiety is linked to lower academic achievement, higher stress, and feelings of low perceived social support, which can lead to problems maintaining and developing long-term healthy relationships. Another key contributor to this is loneliness. And loneliness is a big contributor to a lot more stress, lower development in academics, and lower relation with your peers. One method of improving psychological well-being is gratitude practices. One specific gratitude practice that is seen to be incredibly effective is writing gratitude lists, which involve individuals writing down things they're grateful for in their daily lives, and is seen to be specifically impactful on those with depressive symptoms and a lack of gratitude. Kindness has also been shown to be incredibly impactful on increasing overall well-being, specifically kindness focused towards others rather than self-focused kindness. Acts of kindness is one specific method that is used to increase psychological well-being, and it has had similar effects to other psychological interventions such as mindfulness, positive affect, and gratitude practices.
Based on previous literature, our main research question was, does practicing gratitude and acts of kindness boost overall well-being in college students? Considering this, we wanted to examine whether these practices, both individually and together, would affect overall well-being. Participants were randomly assigned to one of 4 conditions, including the gratitude condition, acts of kindness condition, and the both condition, which consisted of participants engaging in both gratitude practices and acts of kindness, as well as the control condition. We hypothesized that the gratitude condition would show increases in happiness, gratitude, and thriving, and decreases in anxiety and loneliness compared to the control. Additionally, we hypothesized that the acts of kindness group would show increases in thriving, gratitude, and happiness, and decreases in loneliness and anxiety compared to the control. Lastly, we hypothesized that the both condition would show increases in happiness, gratitude, and thriving, and decreases in loneliness and anxiety compared to all other conditions. We recruited 207 Wofford College students by word of mouth, majority of whom were enrolled in psychology courses and received extra credit for their participation. Additionally, all participants were entered into a raffle and given 3 chances to win a $50 gift card. However, we still lost 81 participants to attrition, which brought our final total of participants to 126. The majority of our participants were white females, as we had 109 females, 16 male, and 1 non-binary, as well as 112 white participants, 6 Hispanic, 9 African American, and 4 individuals who chose more than one racial identity. Also, our age range for our participants was 18 to 22, with a mean age of 19.9. Additionally, all participant demographics were spread evenly across all 4 conditions.
Participants completed a pre- and post-assessment that took about 10 minutes. For our materials, we used 5 self-report scales, and we chose these 5 based off of past literature. Subjective happiness measured overall happiness and consisted of 4 items. The UCLA scale measured loneliness and consisted of 20 items. The gratitude questionnaire assessed how grateful participants were and consisted of 6 items. The state anxiety scale assessed how anxious participants were in that moment and consisted of 20 items. And the thriving scale captured overall well-being and optimism and consisted of 10 items. The initial measures were used to compare differences among the groups that might have existed despite randomization. There were no differences among the groups. The post measures constituted our dependent variables. The study was conducted using Qualtrics online. The intervention lasted 10 days over the span of about 2 weeks. The participants were randomly assigned to one of 4 conditions: kindness, gratitude, control, or both. In the kindness condition, participants were instructed to choose one item from the menu to perform. The menu was compiled based off of past literature and consisted of 18 items. They were instructed to choose one item from the menu to perform and report how it made them feel on a 7-point scale. They were not to use the same item more than 3 times. In the gratitude condition, participants were instructed to handwrite 3 things they were grateful for and report how it made them feel on a 7-point scale. They were not to use the same item more than 3 times. In the both condition, participants were instructed to handwrite 3 things they were grateful for and to perform 1 item from the kindness menu. In the control group, participants completed a daily survey with a question not assessing their pro-social behaviors or attitudes. After the intervention, participants completed the measures again so that we could compare the groups.
To analyze our first hypothesis, we ran 5 t-tests between the gratitude group, the post-assessment scores of the gratitude group, and the control group. In analyzing these post-assessment scores, we found no differences between the 2 groups in their scores of subjective happiness, gratitude, loneliness, anxiety, and thriving. To analyze our second hypothesis, we also ran 5 t-tests between the 2 groups of their post-assessment scores. We found that the kindness group was significantly more grateful after the intervention as compared to the control group, which is displayed in this beautiful graph here. But we did not find any other differences between the 2 groups in their scores of subjective happiness, loneliness, anxiety, and thriving. And then finally, to analyze our third hypothesis, we ran 5 multivariate analyses of variance between both the groups, so that's the group that did both the gratitude and the kindness, and the control group. We did not find, unfortunately, any differences among these groups in their scales of their post-assessment scales of subjective happiness, loneliness, anxiety, thriving, and gratitude. Because of our lack of findings, we were interested in whether our study had adequate power. We ran a power analysis after our intervention using the G-Power system to see if our study had adequate power, and we found that our 126 participants that we used was not enough, and we would have needed 404 participants to find adequate power.
With one of our 15 analyses being significant, we decided that the intervention was not effective. Based on this, we generated several limitations, the first of which being the duration of the intervention. We conducted a 10-day intervention over the course of a 14-day period, a design that was largely based on previous literature. However, we believe that in order to make a stronger intervention, it would be beneficial to have an intervention that is conducted over a longer period of time. Additionally, we believe that it would be beneficial to have an intervention in which participants are not able to take breaks in between days of the intervention itself, and that the intervention is conducted over one cohesive time period. An additional limitation is the kindness menu. The kindness menu in which we presented to our participants was largely based on research from Cash and colleagues. We believe in order to help strengthen and diversify the acts of kindness that participants are shown, it would be beneficial to poll the target population beforehand and ask them what they think meaningful pro-social behaviors and acts of kindness would be in the research.
We observed means trending in increased gratitude, thriving, and subjective happiness, and decreased loneliness and state anxiety across all groups, including the control condition. Participants experienced an increase in overall well-being just from being in our study. The very active contact with the control group to provide information about what they ate for breakfast may have decreased their loneliness. A future direction could involve a second control group with no daily interaction from researchers. Additionally, the gratitude intervention we used may not have been public enough to produce a significant effect. Previous literature had shown that posting a picture on Instagram with a caption related to gratitude had increased gratefulness in participants. Lastly, due to time constraints and previous literature, we opted for a between-subject study as opposed to a within-subject study. This was to reduce burden on our participants who only had to complete a 10-day study. A within-subject study would have consisted of the same participants completing each condition of the experiment over the course of 4 weeks, and that would have increased our power.
few quick thank yous. Thank you to Dr. Steinmetz, Dr. McQuiston, and Dr. Lefebvre. They helped us immensely in our statistical analysis and in our experimental design. And we also wanted to extend a thank you to our participants. A lot of you are in this room, actually. And also to faculty who offered their students with extra credit opportunities. And then we wanted to say a very warm thank you to our awesome mentor, Dr. Nowatka, and we're just so thankful for you. So, are there any questions we can answer at this time?
You said you'd want to do a within-subject approach. What would that look like?
So that would basically be, it could require less participants, but it would be like 4 weeks long, and the first week they would do the gratitude, the second week they would do the kindness, third week they would do both, and then it would be randomized which order they did it in, but that would hopefully, and then they would complete the post and pre after each week.
I guess that would be my question. Do you think it would be possible to truly like randomize the groups, or would they have to build, or what has literature done in the past that has used within subject design in this field?
Yes, most of them had used between subjects designs, but the within subject design, we opted for the between because we didn't want, what Kate was saying, we didn't want it to be as strenuous. You know, that's a long 4-week period. I think that we could do a randomized with our participants, and like we did the block assignment for this intervention, we could do the same thing. And it would just be random which participant is doing which thing each week. And then 1 week they would just be taking the control week, taking a week off.
I'm curious to know, with your kindness menu, what were some of like the acts that you had on there for participants in that group to do?
Some of them included like opening the door for someone, or like giving a compliment, leaving a kind note somewhere, things like that.
Yeah.
And was that based on previous literature,
Yes.
just having kindness menus like that?
Yes.
Did you track what people typically chose from the kindness menu?
Yes, we had that on Qualtrics, and then we also had like an Excel sheet where we would write down
Every day.
Did any participants do a kind behavior 3 times, or did anybody report the same thing they were grateful for 3 times?
Yes. When that happened, so we kept up with it every day. At the end of the day, we would be like, all right, let's get together and see what they said. And we would have to reach out to people and be like, hey, you said that you're thankful for your dog 2 times. You have 1 more time to say your dog, and then that's it for your dog.
I'm curious, did you take a personality assessment of your participants? Because I was in your study. I was in the control condition, and my personality, I would describe myself as an optimist. So even though I was in the control condition, I would say I was still doing acts of kindness or being grateful, you know. So do you think that maybe confounded the between groups?
Yes, absolutely. We did in the pre-assessment, we looked at overall gratitude, like how grateful you are every day, your overall thriving, those kind of, that measure was looking at questions like, how happy are you? And then subjective happiness. Like, we looked at all these things but because of our hypotheses, we decided to, in our statistical analysis, we only did, we ran analyses based on the post-assessment difference between the groups. And so it didn't really matter how happy you were before. We just looked at how happy you were after as compared to between the groups.
I'm thinking you did this in October, November. If you did this January, February, where it's colder, you can't be outside, do you think this would have impacted your results at all?
I do. I think that we also did it right before fall break. So, you know, I think people, I do agree with that. Yeah.
Some other previous literature has also indicated that, like, the later you go in the semester, like, that could also be an indication. So, like, weather, and also, like, as stress picks up as the semester goes on, that could also definitely be a factor.
No, not you yet. Isabel first.
Did you guys notice any patterns to like what groups you were getting a lot of attrition from, and was there anything you think you could do to lessen it?
That's a good question.
The both group that had to complete both the gratitude list and the random act of kindness every day had the most attrition. And it was pretty clear that the groups that really had to do anything like the gratitude list, random act of kindness, or the both group had the most attrition compared to the control group. But overall, we had a pretty good, we lost a lot just taking the pre-assessment, but then after that, once the actual experiment started, we really didn't have a ton of people drop out.
And part of our attrition is like people took the pre-assessment too fast, or people were 17 and they couldn't be in it because they needed to be 18.
This is not a question, it's just a statement, going back to Dr. Gallinanis' question. We've run very similar experiments in the spring and found the exact same results. So it's not time of year that seems to affect anything. And we found the same effect of time, that people tend to, just being in the study was enough to make them feel less lonely, more gracious, that kind of stuff.
Some of the questionnaires you guys use have norms, or can be kind of compared to norms like the UCLA and stuff like that. Where did the population fall at the pre-assessment? Like, how lonely, how thriving? Are they high? Are they low? Was there much room for movement?
Our most significant was we had a really high gratitude level. Our initial gratitude level was super high. It left kind of not a lot of room for them to improve. That was the most noticeable one. Everything else was pretty
good. I mean, they were all pretty, like, people weren't as lonely, honestly, as we thought they would be.
Right.
They also weren't nearly as anxious as I thought they would be. So, I mean, I expected a really high level, and it was moderate, but it wasn't crazy.
Do you guys think that if it was anonymous and if you didn't put your name in the survey that you would have different results and that the people wouldn't like feel that way? You guys will know how they truly feel during the pre-test about their loneliness and stuff?
I do.
That's a good question. We had, before we ran any of the statistical analysis, we scrubbed the names and used participant numbers instead of names. But during the intervention, actually, so like when they turned in that they were grateful for their dog and the two other things, then I saw their name, we saw their names. But I feel like we had to have that in order to be able to tell you, hey, you said your dog 2 times, you know.
And kind of going off of that, a reason why we didn't have participants initially just turn in like a number and just like be assigned one number was in order to help ensure that like we were getting like the proper, like lining it up the proper amount, like, oh, you're thankful for your dog, we want to make sure that you logged it in properly and everything like that.
Good question.
Were you, correct me if I'm wrong in findings, but were you all more surprised that the kindness group showed increases in gratitude compared to just the grateful list and the both list?
Yes, definitely. I think, like Lucy was saying, that might have been just a fluke since we ran 15 analyses and only found one thing that was significant. But yeah, we were definitely surprised that it wasn't what we expected, that the kindness group would increase their gratitude. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up, but I think
Yes, we
y'all
do
have
have
one
one
last
final
thing.
thing. We just wanted